Hey, Shalom. Okay, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles of Great Millstone, our elders of GMS. Okay, and salutations and peace and much blessings to the hopeful elect of the children of Israel. Okay, people of Negro, Latino, Native American, and Seminole Indian descent. Israelite foreigners who look like the heathens but have the spirit of Israelite and are Israelites through their father's side. And you are humbling yourself to learn this word, to escape the destruction of this world that's to come. Okay, so here we go. I just wanted to do this. I just started doing this. Methods of torture. I spelled it wrong. Slock it. Slaves. Okay. Torture of slaves in the United States. The horrors of slavery. Chapter 5. Methods of controlling slaves. Middle passage. Instruments of restraint and torture. Graphic digital collection. Ooh, here we go. Top 10 horrible punishment for slaves in America. Okay, let's go to the Library Company of Philadelphia. You got niggas saying, oh, America's Egypt, Philadelphia. Shut up. They don't give us nothing there. And it says 10 here, but there's far more methods that Esau used to torture the Israelites. And look, you want to mention it wasn't just the tribe of Judah. There were horrible things done to the tribe of Ephraim as well. Whipping, mutilation, brandings, smoked alive. And you can read a horrible account with the brother in the book of Revelation. I think it was chapter 1 or 2, where they put him in a boiling, pretty much boiled him alive. Esau's going to get it. Eventually, various slave states passed laws regarding the maintenance, well-being, and rights of slaves. Theoretically, this should have given slaves some protection from cruelty and abuse. In reality, these laws were rarely enforced. Some accounts describe how different methods of punishment and abuse became more popular in the states, and it was only for the sake of not wasting their money on their what they considered as cargo. That's the reason why they didn't kill many of them in the first place. Just for the sake of not losing their investment. But it still didn't stop them. Okay, escaped slave William W. Brown discussed a common practice used in Virginia. He described an owner who had his slaves bound and whipped in the smokehouse. Then he created a fire from tobacco stems to suffocate and smoke the slave as further punishment. Gee, damn. The hog's head. His slaves were stuffed into these barrels and rode down long, steep hills while the owner and other slaves watched. Suspended beneath a cooking fire. The emotional cell. Public burnings. Long-term chaining. An elderly female slave who served as a cook supposedly started the blaze in a suicide attempt. She had been shackled to the stove with the cooking fire. Afterwards, several slaves were discovered in horrific conditions in the lower attic, suspended by their necks. They were standing with their limbs chained in a way that stretched and tore them. forced reproduction. That ain't nothing. So here's our scripture. Here's a comforting scripture. And I'm going to start at verse 15. He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that despiseth the gain of oppressors, that shaketh his hand from holding of bribes, that stoppeth his ear from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing evil, he shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munition of rocks. Bread shall be given him, his waters shall be sure. Thy eyes shall see the king in his beauty. They shall behold the land that is very far off. That's where we're going back to. Our righteous land, our rightful home, Israel. Thine heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counteth the towers? Thou shalt meditate terror. Thine heart, Slocket, thine heart shall meditate terror. You know what it means to meditate terror mean? You know? Yeah, give him double as they done unto you. Reward them double as they rewarded as they rewarded you. To moan, to growl, to utter, speak. Okay, to meditate, devise, muse, imagine. Okay. So close with this last one here. For it is a righteous thing. For it is a righteous thing. Listen, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And who's troubling us? You know, the so-called white man. The so-called white man, the Esau Edom. For punishment, torture on slaves. Okay, here's top 10. That's a video. Top 10 inhumane punishment for slaves. Here's what are some examples of worst treatments to slaves in history. One of the atrocious methods of killing slaves, pictured by Stedman, hanging them up by a hook to die of thirst and famine. Hung by a hook. Tomorrow on Highways and Byways, I'm going to go through some account with Christopher Columbus and those rats that traveled along with him, and a lot of the cruel methods. Lord willing, the Spirit allows me. 8 most horrific and humane black slave punishment in history of slavery. And you see, these things like this can't be overlooked and like, oh, it's just a past. It's not today's white man. Well, if only y'all knew what was on Trump's agenda if he was to get back in office. You know, he planned on beheading a lot of you dumbass niggas that, you know, trust in him. The history and evolution of American torture in secret prisons. Torture of slaves. So, okay, this should be interesting here. Atlantic Black Star, 8 disturbing images of instruments of torture used on Israelites. Look at this here. And I might still have it under my bookmarks, but or I might have deleted it. I'll usually delete things if I remember. I can just do a search on it, a Google search or whatever search engine you use. Look at this here though. It's called the cotton screw. This is next. The thumb screw. Mm, mm, mm. The thumb screw is a torture instrument that was used on captured black people aboard slave trader ships on the Atlantic Ocean. The torture device was often used against Africans involved in uprisings and insurrections during the Atlantic slave trade from the 16th to the 19th century. The leader would be forced to place his thumbs between two flat metal pieces connected by one or more screws. The metal bars had ridges, either smooth, bumped, or sharp spikes that would bore into the victim's thumbs, trapping them in a metal mechanism as his bones were crushed. It was a small, torturous device that inflicted extreme pain without too much effort. And if you ever slammed your finger in a door, a car door, a trunk, or a door, period, um, you can imagine the horror, the pain. And no one's ever um, took that lightly, getting their finger stuck in the car door or trunk. Whew, you want to talk about some pain. Esau's going to get it. Mask. Look at the mask. Variations of the mask were used against captured Africans who tried to escape their bondage. Enslaved Martin, a Rio de Janeiro runaway slave in Rio de Janeiro, Mr. Bell noted the masks were used for further torture. Captured fugitives are forced to do the hardest and roughest work. They are ordinarily placed in chains and are led in groups through the city's neighborhoods where they carry loads of sweet refuse in the streets. This type of slave is so frightful that while they have lost all hope in fleeing again, they think of nothing but suicide. They poison themselves by drinking at one swallow a large quantity of strong liquor, or suffocate themselves by eating dirt in order to deprive them of this way of causing their own death. They put a tin mask on their face. The mask has only a very narrow slit in front of the mouth and a few little holes under the nose so they can breathe. So just like this devil was, he meditated terror. The neck collar. You can go with the scripture on that with yokes of iron. A metal collar was placed around the neck of a captured Israelite for months at a time to remind them of their wrongdoing. Such collars were thick and heavy. They often had protruding spikes that made field work difficult and prevented the wearer from resting at night. It often took 1 hour of filing to remove the collar. Give me a second here. Deuteronomy 28 and 48 is what I'm thinking of. It's like it was Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.